What's going on, y'all? This is your boy Gerald. It is the 11th of April, 2016. How is each and everybody doing? So you are on the back end of your weekend. That's right. And I hope wherever you are well. So it's early in the morning. I'm giving thanks, and I said, well, I'm going to put this out because I know that possibly there may be someone waking up this morning that may be feeling a certain kind of way and may be trying to figure it all out and may desire some clarity. So this video is for you. So, how was your weekend? I hope that it was eventful. I hope that you stayed grounded, you spoke your truth, but more importantly, you loved yourself. Because, if you don't love yourself, that energy that comes from you, that emits from you, that's the energy that's going to return through efforts and examples and displays. So it's very important that you love yourself. Did you wake up this morning, look in that mirror when you brushed those pearly whites and said, hey, we were blessed another day to experience and grow, another opportunity to see and understand what makes us us, because there'll never be another you, y'all. Oh yes, I'm telling you the truth. Granted, yes, I know they say that flattery by way of imitation is nothing but a means of showing admiration, showing appreciation. But that's really hard to do when there's an original called you, because there'll never be another you. So it's very important that you protect what matters. We're talking about why. Oh, you. So, are you loving yourself? Huh? You're speaking of truth? You're allowing yourself to take in the reflection, the insight, the wisdom of what was behind your shoulders, of times not so long ago. Are you taking that all in consideration, or are you possibly on that treadmill that is repetitive, and it seems like the scenery constantly is showing you the same things? Because if that is the case, you got to love yourself a little more, y'all. Because that ain't nothing but an illusion and a distraction from you. I know I'm talking to somebody. Yes, it is the 11th of April, and y'all, what is going on? I said this almost 8 months ago. Outside my window, it is 40-something degrees. You got people, it was so cold yesterday. Some areas are here in Virginia Beach, Virginia, they were seeing flurries. People were breaking out the logs to put on their fireplace. I even had considered myself, you know what? Now they cleaned out this fireplace. Maybe I need to go ahead and break out the logs and burn a fire. I thought about it, but I said, you know what? Just like this too will pass. just a moment. So, with that being said, if you're thinking that you are in a pitfall, you think that you may have hit a stumbling block, it's just a moment. It's just a moment. You know why it's there? So you can take note, take ownership, take accountability, and assess its worth. That's why I always tell you, y'all, if you're somewhere where love is not there, why are you there? Why are you there? If it does not spawn growth, why do you entertain it? If it does not generate insight by way of epiphanies. See, I know some of y'all are going through this now. Now you're in a phase of your life where you're having some lucid dreams. Some dreams has gotten you feeling a certain kind of way now, don't it? Because you're seeing things that are placements of what was behind your shoulders, but has placement of today. I know I'm talking to someone. You're seeing this because there is still a process that has to come to fruition. See, this is one thing I've come to learn about myself and my walk. See, I understand the importance of having a sound mind, but I also come to understand without a sound mind, you will not understand having a grounded heart. But if you don't put God first in everything you do, you're setting yourself up for pain. So, how you doing? Doing all right? Hope so. Because you know, y'all, Joe got much love for you, Queen. Got much love. I'm riding for you, my kings. I want nothing more than for y'all to have your day in the sunshine. I want you to be at that place of validation and said, I did well. I want you to walk around with your head up, your shoulders back, because these are the fruits of your labor. Why? Because we're talking about your legacy, y'all. You can't buy a legacy. You can't be loaned a legacy. You can't, because these are the makings of you. This comes from your efforts, your works. So guess what? It's up to you to critique, but more importantly, mold. Because see, when the work's done, and you take your last breath, that's what will be left. That's what people will know you from. And I know for some people that might be a little dark, be a little morbid. You on this death thing, Joe? No, I'm not. I'm all about that life thing. You know, living in favor every day. Because see, when you strive to live in favor every day, guess what? You have no stress. You have no stress. You're at peace. You're at peace. Because you know that everything that is being revealed to you at this time is divinely meant by way of checks and balances. Think of your life like a scale. What you put on one side is going to depend on the outcome on the other. Some people may know it as a yin and yang effect, a cause and effect. So the efforts put in will be the result of what you see. I know I'm talking to someone. See, I know somebody right now, you're thinking that, well, you know what? You got this dark cloud over your life and you can't get ahead. And it seems like they're on the other side of your door. There's nothing but despair and confusion. Let me tell you something. The devil's a liar. And right now the devil thinks he's winning. But I'm going to tell you this. And I had come to learn this in my continued walk. That see, you may not know, but you may have made an impact on someone through a word, through an action, or a presence. And they're praying for you. They're praying that you come through whatever you are fearing. Because that's all depression's made of, is fear. You know, finally everything's a reality. But Sometimes, y'all, I understand. It seems like it takes a life of its own, and it seems like there's an uh, unsurmountable odds against you to keep you at bay. Now, that's a requirement that you take a step back, give thanks for your life, and you give it to God. That's the time when you realize that your pride can't carry you any further. Your ego will only hold you back like an ankle bracelet given in court. No, no, no. You have a perimeter here. You got to stay here. This is who you are. No, it's not. No, it's not. I know there might be some of y'all right now that you're still dealing with the scars of your upbringing because you didn't get the support that you thought you needed, you longed for. So you took it upon yourself to go find that support only to incur more pain. And you feel that no one has your best interest. No one cares about your mortality. No one wants to see your smile. Do you realize, y'all, other than giving a person flowers, the best thing you can give a person is the presence of your smile? No one will never have your smile. You can take 100 people and put them in a lineup and smile, and that person that has a connection with you will see it. They know you. They know you because that's spiritual. The essence that it comes from is spiritual. So if it's spiritual, guess where that comes from? Because he wants you to win. But we have free will, now don't we? So therefore, since we have free will, we must have the courage to make a choice. Do I go this way or that way? Do I go back or do I go forward? I say to you, put your foot down. Put it down. It's okay. It ain't gonna fall off. Put your foot down. Take in that precious breath. Feel your heart. See, feel your face. Feel your brow. See, no one will have that feeling that you connect to because it's yours. You say, Joe, where am I going with this? I'm gonna tell you what I'm going with. What's gonna happen is you might not realize is there is going to be change from the inside out, and it's going to spark some emotional influx inside you. And at some points, it may bring you to tears. At some points, you may laugh. At some points, you may feel very, very angry. But it won't be directed towards your audience. It'll be directed towards yourself because you're going to start to see and understand the value of your worth. I know I'm talking to someone. You're saying to yourself, I've invested all this time to seek what was on the other side of the horizon to realize that what I was looking for was found within me the whole time. I know I'm talking to someone. You're not fighting this fight by yourself. You're not by yourself. But guess what? Even though God doesn't need your permission, he does need your acceptance to let him in your life. He needs that. He needs you to sign off on that. And how he does that is he does the same thing that the devil does. See, a lot of people have spent so much time, so much money, so much effort to convince man that we are measured by our efforts, and we don't give credit where credit is due. Even when it's in disappointment, we don't give credit where credit is due. Here's what I'm going with. See, we've allowed ourselves as a species, because we're talking mankind, to believe our own crap. We want to put ourselves on false pedestals, and when the pedestals break and start to shift and start to sway, we don't take accountability for the fall. But guess what? Even in those darkest moments, you're still not alone. You never were alone. You know why? Because you breathe, you exist. So guess what? At a at the least, through every disappointment, every failure, I want you to look at it from a different point of view. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it can be it can be very stark at times because you feel like your world may be coming in on both sides and you don't have the support you need. But guess what? Because of that disappointment, guess what comes out of that? Validation, transparency, vulnerability, insight, wisdom. You need all these things to live on this earthly realm, y'all. And if you're not acknowledging these things make up your emotional state. That's just like driving a car with no oil in it. Sure, you can drive it to a point that eventually it breaks down. That's why I will convey to each and every one of you, you have to love yourself. Make a conscious decision to fall back in love with yourself. You know why? Because the moment that you decide to fall back in love with you, you'll start to take that placement that you rightfully should have had, because what's at stake is your destiny, your legacy. And that's why, I do put this out in my videos sometimes. If you think that you're here on this planet just to eat, reproduce, consume, and die, you got swayed. Your environment has been constructed to keep you from what you should see, what you should embrace. But even through the storms, y'all, through the darkest clouds, there's always the rays. There's always a silver lining. That the sun will come through it. The light will be shown through the darkest events. Don't worry about that. Why? Because what's at stake is your legacy, y'all. Your legacy is founded by your efforts. So, with that being said, there are going to be numerous people that are going to want to know your story. But with that being said, only a very few will be able to hear you breathe. Sure, that's what makes us individuals. So there's a responsibility to come with that. But see, I also know that depending on how we were reared, we'll have a we'll have an impact on how you see the world. Some will take a point of romanticizing it. Some will take a position to look at it as a crusade. But what is your truth? What is your truth? Because if you knew your truth, you'd stand behind it. You'd validate it. You would protect it. Now, here's the flip side of that. See, the people that don't mean you well already see it. They know that as your potential. How many times have you been in liaisons and relationships and then it's all good in the beginning? It seems heaven sent. It has all the allure and illusions connected to it. And then all of a sudden, like a theater, the veil falls and you see the truth. You know why that happens? Because even still, no matter where you are, because you're God's child, He wants you to, hey, look here. You might not have known this. Check this out. You might not have been aware of this, and you hear something. Why? Because you're God's child. And He wants you to be happy. He wants you to be peaceful. How many times have you gone to sleep to rest, to wake right back up with the same energy within yourself? You're not at peace. And you're just trying to make it one more day because you're going off an instinct. That's not you. You know it. He knows it. Your angels know it. And unfortunately, those demons know it. Because see, demons got to stay employed because they don't want to piss the devil off. So guess what? They need someone who does not love themselves, someone that is vulnerable to a state of influence, that will not see their worth, that are just living in the now, not tomorrow. That's why it's very important to be honest with yourself. Because the moment that you decide to be honest with yourself, guess what happens? Glimmers of your purpose will be revealed to you. The things that you find is your passions will be revealed constantly. That's right. And I mentioned this in a video I just did because I know that some of you may be going through this. You may have made choices and you may have made decisions that had some very, it cost you on some level. May it be financially, may it been socially, may it been through relationship. And you just like, I really, really tore that up. I can't believe, but at that mind state that you had, you were only going off of what you knew. So if there was no insight or support in making the best you be revealed, guess what? You're only going off of what's shown. Now, that doesn't give you a pass. What it should do is give you insight. I know I'm talking to someone, but I'll just say this. I've come to learn in my walk that anything that is divinely meant, you can't stop it. Anything that's ordained by God will come to pass. And I think some of y'all have seen that on the flip side, because you may have been in situations that have had a lot of disappointment to you. Like, if I only knew, or if I had just an ounce of information on this endeavor, I would have never taken the time to invest in it. And you feeling like the rug was pulled under your feet. But see, that's what the devil does. Devil does that. Now, come on now, think about it. The Lucifer was God's number one angel until his pride and ego cost him. And guess what? Because God was so loving, he gave him an opportunity to repent. He gave him an opportunity. That's like, that's no different like your parents. Your parents already know what you did, and they want you to confess it. But what do? We hold on to that lie like our life depended on it. But what happens when you hold on to a lie? You feel a certain kind of way. You feel like a weighted burden is placed on your spirit. I use the term emotional backpack, another stone. But until you're able to speak your truth, can you breathe? That's what God gave the opportunity to Lucifer. He gave him that, but he didn't want to repent that. So he had no choice. And he had to banish him. And he cast him out. And he wasn't alone. He had friend Lucifer, he was the number one angel. So guess what? He had influence in the heavenly dominion. He had angels that looked up to him. He was in other words, he had a lot of clout. So guess what? He had his flunkies too. No disrespect, but it is what it is. So guess what? Since you don't want to get information, this is what you do. I gave you an opportunity. You still didn't want to. Okay, the door, and take your friends with you. And that might be where you are now in your life. Now you're in a place of going into that emotional closet and having to pull the boxes out. I know I'm talking to someone. You're pulling out those boxes of memories, and you're doing some soul searching, and you're looking at your life, and you're looking at compared to where you thought you were going to be compared to where you are, and it's got you feeling a certain kind of way. Number one, never abandon your emotions. Never abandon. Never deflect your. We live in a world that women don't cry. We live in a world that men, and I blame the way that we were reared. And I know that a lot of it had to do with generational upbringing, because to show emotion, it was deemed as you were weak. But let me tell you something. You're lost if you don't embrace them. That's like leaving where you live, leaving the door open for anything and anyone to come in and do anything they want to you, because it's not protected, it's not fortified. So who's loving you? I hope it's you. It starts with you and it ends with you, because these are the things that make you. So we're in the back end of your weekend, and I really mean it. I hope that y'all hear that in the background, y'all. That's that new Maxwell. Can't wait till it come out. um I really believe a lot of us, I know somebody's going to see this video, and you're in a place where you're doing some self inventory now, and you realize that there were some choices, there were some actions that you did not realize had such an impact on your life. But more importantly, you're starting to see that your support system, you're starting to see them in a different light, and you're feeling perplexed because you may be wondering, hey, you know, I have been vulnerable with you. I've given you my all, and for you to do me this way in this regard, I'm feeling a certain kind of way. Let's call it for what it is. You're hurt. You're hurt because you're dealing with betrayal right now. But I'm about to drop the boom on you though. I'm about to drop the boom on you because I want you to take stock of this. When you decide to ground your feet, you'll take accountability for your part. See, take away the illusions. Take away the wordplay. Take away all the distractive comprehension that you can interpret and put this down. No one can do anything to you that you don't allow. And I'm saying this to you out of love. And I'm going to tell you why. That doesn't give you a pass to snort your nose up and run around and be the biggest asshole that you can be. No, because all that does is cause more pain and disrespect for yourself. But we are instinctual people. So we try to hold on and protect what we think is of value. Greatest value you'll ever know is your life. I know I'm talking to somebody. You sitting over here and you're like, well, girl, I hear what you're saying, but what she did to me, I'm surprised I'm not in jail. What he did to me, I'm surprised he's breathing. But guess what? You'll come to know this too. And for some, this may be a little scary because you'll notice the more and more that you choose not to invest in your life, stand behind your truth, love yourself more, you know what's going to happen? You're going to start to see your behaviors, your traits in other people's actions. And it's going to scare you. At first, you're going to try to play it off, and you're going to be like, well, that's my soulmate. Two birds of a feather flock together. But guess what? If that bird is flying into pain, why you flying with it? Huh? Hmm? Here's a good scenario, Queen. Remember the day when you said to yourself, I want a thug? Remember that? And then guess what? Just like weeds on the side of a sidewalk, there they were. And you were playing like you were in the grocery store, picking up everyone that you could, but each experience was more pain. Each attack was more disrespect. Why? Because you manifested that. So that goes back to what I was saying earlier. See, Lucifer has he has ability just like God, not supreme, but guess what? God taught him. So guess what? He searches your heart too. He searches your thoughts. Because it doesn't fall from your mouth, you don't think it does not resonate? Of course it does. You're dealing with the spirit. Mm-hmm. Think about it. So I could turn around and I could be burned up. But if I'm not dead, guess what? My spirit still exists. I know I'm talking to somebody. For example, I've been watching this. I'm getting over my whatever this going on, and I really believe y'all. It has to do with this with these cloud seeding, y'all. Come on, think about it. People getting sick. Why are you getting sick? First it was, oh, it's based on the pollen. Oh, blame it on. But you got different types of weather all over the United States, right? Don't y'all find that kind of ironic? But let's look at it from a linear sense. Let's just gravity 101. What goes up must come down. So let's look at it from an aspect of cause and effect. What you put out is going to come back. So if I got planes spraying chemicals in the air, guess what? Eventually they gotta land on something. And we are what we eat. So guess what it affects? It affects you from the internal, the physical. So who's feeding your spirit? Who's influencing you? Who's protecting you? Who's empowering you? If you are not in an environment that has those things going on, you're at risk. You are. And I know I kind of figured it didn't click for me until like 2 weeks ago. But queens, kings, you do realize that society will never take responsibility because it's an archetype, it's a template. Now, let's go with our individual free will, right? So, if you're not governing yourself, who's governing you? You hear what I'm saying? You have to love yourself. I know some people have even convinced yourself because you may have gone through a drought and you say, well, Gerald, I hear everything that you're saying, but at the end of the day, I go home to a cold bed. I see people walking around and they disrespect each other, they disrespect their bodies, they disrespect their who they are. And I see these people and I wish I just had a piece of what they mock. Because the reality is I go home. Sure, I have countless memories of stolen moments, but it doesn't make me feel whole. And you're wondering when the one is going to come. I know I'm talking to someone. Let me show you something, y'all. Let me tell you why the devil's such a liar. The master of deception, the lion in the brush. I'm gonna show you why. This okay, it's 2016. Let's go back 10 years, 2006. Queens. Your libidos wasn't shooting through the roof back then. Not on the the pandemic that it is now. You have convinced yourself that, well, I'm an independent woman. I don't need a man. First of all, nobody can complete you. You complete yourself. You complete yourself. But if you think that you were brought on this planet to live your life by yourself, you're fooling yourself. Because the person that you're destined to be with will be a spiritual person. I don't care if you are on your deathbed. And guess what? They possess the keys to the other side of your life. I know I'm talking to someone. You may be going through a season where I say, well, you know what, Gerald? I never had the opportunities that I have now. And knowing what I had then compared to where I am, I have the ability to make things happen. Well, why am I still feeling alone? Because you're not loving yourself. We used to say this back in the day. You're putting more investment in an illusion of what you want your reality to validate. But guess what? At the end of the day, you still go home. And it might be the flip. It might be the opposite. You may be in a relationship. You may be married, committed, but you feel like you're the only one in it. Let me tell you why. God ain't there. And really, that's a travesty because of what? Materialism. You with her because she's a go-getter. She's living her dreams. You sitting on the couch. You the four-star general of that game console and excuses, and she holding it down. Let me tell you something. Number one, she might not tell you that because of sexually you are satisfying all her desires, but deep down inside, every time she see your face, she's disappointed. She's disappointed, and as each day go by, guess what? She loses respect for you. But really, she loses respect for herself because she won't speak her truth because that's not a soulmate. That's not a soulmate. That's a soul tie. and he got you feeling a certain kind of way because you said, well, Gerald, when it comes to intimacy, he's like no other. She's like no other. But does she make you feel emotionally safe? Does he inspire you? Does he foster your dreams? I know I'm talking to someone. Ain't nothing worse to go through life and you realize where your reality is. You ain't happy. I do one better. You hear this all the time. Well, Gerald, well, where I am now, uh, psychologically compared to where I was when I began, you know, if I knew what I knew now, then I would have never gone that route. But guess what? You're still not telling the truth. You're sugarcoating it. You're still sugarcoating it. That's why the faces constantly change. Or you may have convinced yourself, you say, well, I've got a type. I like them dark skinned. I like them light skinned. She got to look a certain way. She got to talk a certain way. She got to do this. She got to possess that. But does all that matter when you're sick? See, the person that is destined to be in your life will be a spiritual person. And I'm going to just use this as a scenario. I know this is kind of far-fetched, but the person that is supposed to walk with you has a testimony. They've learned, they've been made new, they've grown. And for some of y'all, that may be your greatest regret because you may be in a place where you see them. Ain't nothing worse than be in the same room with somebody, but you feel like you're a million miles away. Why? Because the truth has not been spoken. I know I'm talking to someone, but I will tell you this, y'all. Remember what I said? That anything that's ordained by God will come to pass with or without your permission, because that's what God wants. You may be waking up right now, rolling over, and be like, somebody's waking up right now saying, you know what? I got with you for the wrong reasons. I've been lying to myself the whole time because what I thought happiness was found through your affiliation. And you realize that you are a prisoner in your own mind. You see this play out all the time, y'all. From the outside, they look like they got it going on, but behind closed doors, there's nothing but turmoil. You know, yeah. Some people know it as, um, damn. I can't think of the term, but you know what? It's for show, but for whose benefit? For whose benefit? Stop putting a price tag on your heart, because you're not gonna get yesterday back. You're not gonna get these minutes back. So you need to get past that fear and claim yourself. Claim yourself back. So you're saying, well, Gerald, if I do that, guess what? The reality that I have will go away. But guess what? Who's to say that reality was holding you back from your maybe the reality that you're destined to have? That is nothing but a splinter of what you really where you should be. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, here you go. You may think I'm trying to use a good example. Chris Rock said, you know, we have a way of when it comes to our relationships, we will always attract what's new. We'll constantly be drawn to what's new, not invest in what is stationary. And he was like, and I'm going to be very, I'm not going to say the joke, but he was more or less saying like, well, the new illusion can't cook. The foundation can give you a meal. The new illusion doesn't think of tomorrow, lives in today, but the foundation is forever. But you know what's connected to that foundation? Your heart, your spirit. And some of y'all may be in a position where you're in this phase. You wish that you could turn back the hands of time because of knowledge that you have gained. I remember one time I told somebody very, very dear, and I said, at the end of the day, one day you're going to ask yourself, was it worth it? If anything that you're investing does not validate the worth of the effort given, guess what? That is a regret. And you know what's going to happen with that regret? It will haunt you until you complete it. You have to. Mhm, mhm. You might be in a family dynamic where you're only seen as a certain light. You're always the baby, and everybody doesn't take you serious. They displace anything that you talk about, what you do. They don't want to see you as the person you've become. You know why? 9 times out of 10, the reason why that occurs is because that may be a block or a challenge that they haven't mastered. That's why when you come to seek advice, they can never give it to you. But they'll gladly deflect it. So, but then again, I also know this: an opportunist doesn't invest their time nor effort in something or someone that will not reap a benefit. I know I'm talking to someone. You say to yourself, you know what? I know this person's not good for me, but you know, the payoff might be that stolen moment. So I'm gonna play this game. Guys do it all the time, y'all. They do. They know that where you are in your life is broken. And they'll play that waiting game like they're waiting to pay a bill. They got that little ticket, like, you know what? Sooner or later, I'm gonna hit like a lottery ticket. But then you gotta ask yourself again, was it worth it? Was it worth the distress? Was it worth the delay? No, no, no. Mm-mm. So you may be wondering why I put that title there. It's that title's for someone. Maybe the person, this may be you. You may have stumbled onto this video, or this may be for the family, my subscribers. And I thank each and every one of you because Gerald wants nothing but love for each and every one of you. I want you to be able to champion your life. But you got to also look at it like this, y'all. Where your life is headed, what your destiny has in store for you. The people that may have access to you, they're not going to be there. And it's not punishment to them. But let's make this clear. You have some people that are nothing but opportunists. They know it. That's the position they take, you know. They don't have a relationship with God. They don't want you to have a relationship with God because they know that will be divine intervention that will divide you. And that is why the reason why you're seeing and hearing the things that are being revealed at this time. You may be in a position in your life right now where it seems like you are going through a spiritual storm. Let me tell you something. If this is you, what is being required is authenticity. That's why you're having those dreams. You might think they nightmares. You might think they premonitions. You just don't know, why am I seeing this? Why am I feeling this person's presence? Why does this person have such an impact on my life? You might not even have nothing to do with them. It's because God placed that person in your life for a reason, to either empower you or enable you. I know I'm talking to someone. But see, you gotta be careful, y'all, because like I said, there is an agenda going on, and you have to be honest with yourself so you can see it. And I realized this very. It was made very crystal clear. At first, I didn't understand it, and I kind of dispelled it, but it's very obvious now. You have some people, y'all, that want to benefit off of your pain. They do. They are investing in your confusion. They don't want you to be grounded because they know the moment that you become grounded, you will speak your truth and you'll protect it. And they know that the influence that they have over your life will cease to exist. So there's some covert things going on, so much to the point that they're attacking your psychology. I told you, the mind is infinite. If you can think it, you can be it. But it's nurtured by your heart. It's validated by your spirit. That's why we attract what we are. So you may be in a position where it seems like, oh, I can you can meet as many people as you want, but they're going through your life like a turnstile. And the commonality is maybe a stolen moment, or maybe a downward spiral in addiction. You know, when it comes to making your life better, they don't have time for you. But soon as you are knocked down, they're there like vultures sitting on a telephone pole waiting to feast off of your pain. You may wonder, well, why am I seeing this? Because you have to fortify your life. You have to fortify it. That means you got to speak your truth. You got to have that conversation with the Most High. He's waiting on you. It's not his responsibility to seek you out because he created you. But guess what? Your blessings, he got a storeroom with your name on it. All these all these blessings with your name on it. But he ain't gonna give it to you so you can squander it. He's not. And this go back to what I said earlier. Maybe this is the moment in your life where you don't have a companion right now. The reason why you don't have a companion right now, like you want, because your heart ain't there yet. What you may interpret as love is not pure. Because there are some people who think that loving someone is the sexual act. And you're going off of your environment because maybe that's all you saw. You said, well, you know what? I got somebody to keep warm in the cold days, and I got someone to argue and fuss at, and and that may be what you think is your purpose of existing. But I'm here to tell you, if God is not in that union, it was nothing but your lesson. And that person is to show you the traits that live inside you. That's why I say we are what we attract, y'all. I do one better. And I don't wish bad on nobody. You may have went out, you may have embraced a position of an assertiveness. And your thing is, I'm gonna be the head HBC. And he said, well, you know what? If you're not on my foundation, then you're not on my level. And that is nothing but a means of control. And you know that people that got control issues have no control nor direction in their life. They're very impulsive. So you may be the flavor of the month. You may be the person that is satisfying that, quenching that thirst or desire or someone's fantasy. Therefore, there's no seeds of foundation found in there because there's no love there. I do one better. If your relationship is fortified by swinging on the chandeliers and he got you doing everything under the sun, and those are things that you thought that you would never do, and in turn that you think that that's in contingent to your relationship being, like a marriage, and you've mastered the art of physical intimacy, but yet there's no love there. Guess what? That's not the mate. That's not your companion. That's not your better half, because God ain't there. And see, that's what that devil do. The devil is the master of decision, because his whole thing is he never takes responsibility. His whole disposition is like this. You may see this in the actions of the people that you with. He'll look at it like and deflect it. Wait a minute. You said you wanted a man. I gave you what you wanted. But guess what? If there's no support there, there's no love there. Guess what? No love, no trust. No trust, no truth. No growth. That's what the devil does. Why? Because he wants to break you. He wants your spirit. He wants you not to grow because he has dominion over your pain. And he wants you to stay in that. And I think what's going on a lot of people now, like for example, I wasn't gonna say anything about it, but it's very evident. We are in a transition, y'all, socially, and what's gonna happen is it's gonna boil down to a spiritual line. And that spiritual line is gonna be those who have compared to those who do not. And we're starting to see that because for those who have Facebook, I'm on Facebook. I can be found, Gerald Davis. You'll see me up there. Um, but someone posted, I think it was this week, that the hair industry for the first time took a major loss. Their profits were down nearly 30% because women are starting to grow embrace their natural hair, and these companies are really shook because they thought, well, they're gonna always be somebody gonna want to relax their hair. They're gonna be someone they're gonna want to look like her. Now you gotta understand. Now just ask yourself this: who is the person that you don't know sitting in a boardroom saying this is what beauty looks like? They've used this formula for their financial gain for over 100 years. This is the template of what beauty looks like. But I believe a lot of people are starting to search their hearts, and they're starting to see the value of their mortality, because everything that you need was given the moment you took your first breath. And let's peel that onion back. Think about it. Think about the epiphanies and the realizations that you've embraced now compared to what led you to it. And weigh them in a like a scale, right? I guarantee a nickel to a dime, there was a whole lot of insecurity, impulse that made you respond the way you did. And now that you're starting to see your worth, you see your value, the scales in your life and changing. So with that being said, guess what? Your connections, your dynamics, the way you see the world is also impacted. Some of the relationships that you had 20 years ago may not be existent today because it was based off the mindset that you had at that time. That's why I tell you, my family, if you are under the age of 35 years old, you do not know who you are. You don't. But guess what? If God's not in your life, I guarantee you've seen a lot of and experienced a lot of disappointment too. Because the hardest thing that you're gonna have to face is yourself. Yeah, you got to take accountability for your choices. And the only way that you can escape that is if someone literally, proverbially, had a gun to your head or threatened your mortality, and you said, I didn't have a choice in the matter." So once again, why are you there? Because that ain't nothing but Stockholm syndrome. Every time that you're in an environment where the person that has access to your life and they're not bringing the best out of you out, you're giving them a pass to do it again. We've all been there. I've been there. Mhm. Everything's in contingent that you're hoping like, well, you know what? If I make it through this day, you know, tomorrow will be another day. You don't have the control of what another person does. That's free will. But you do have control of how you respond, how you react, and the direction for your life. Because at the end of the day, we got to do our own work, y'all. We got to do it. And and I believe that's, first is it's women are starting to grow their hair and see how beautiful their hair is. But let's not be shallow. Why don't you turn around and see how beautiful your existence is? Because you are not your hair. It's an extension of you. And yeah, let's talk about that. I'm still getting flack. I'm still getting flack from people. Why you cut your hair? Number one, because the lesson was already learned. But see, you can't talk to people about God that don't want to have a relationship with God because they're going to turn around and look at it from a linear sense of man. They'll never get you. They won't. So you do yourself an injustice trying to explain it. Sometimes you've got to explain things to the level of their understanding. Otherwise, it'll be in vain. So if you're spending time with a position of, I'll show you, you have a vengeful heart, you embrace spite, deception, you're robbing your life. hmm And I'm saying this out of love, y'all, because until you're able to embrace your emotions, you'll never understand your perceptions. And if you can't understand your perceptions, you will not realize how big this world is. But more importantly, you will not realize where you should be compared to where you are. I know I'm talking to someone. But see, I understand that too, because the devil's work is never done. And the devil been trying been trying so hard to destroy the family structure. That's why women, y'all so much, y'all been under attack for the last 60 years because they know you're given. God gave you the gift of nurturement. That's why you're given the title mother, matriarch. You know, you're the anchor. They know that. So it's important that you get yourself right. Stop worrying about what's outside your door. Maybe it should be out of your door. Should have never been through your. That's how doors are, y'all. Because a door is open doesn't mean that you're supposed to walk through it. That door might be a doorway to a quick dead end. I know I'm talking to someone. So let's go back. Because I didn't ran my mouth long enough. Some of y'all may feeling passionate about, how can I say this? You may be in a place in your life where you're starting to see people who have made mistakes such as yours, and you want to use your experience and your wisdom to empower them. But guess what? There comes with a responsibility of that, because if you're not grounded, guess what? They're not going to be grounded. And unfortunately, they're going to show you your flaws because you relate. That's why I say we attract what we are. So if you're in a place of being undecisive, a place of confusion, a, a place of intrigue, a place of provocativeness, you can all end that the moment that you decide to, number one, forgive yourself. How about forgive those people who have hurt you? You know that word forgiveness? Does it pertain to your life? If you're walking around with a grudge, you're holding resentment because of that person, guess what? You might as well be on a leash because they're running your life. And you know what's sad about that? They will never understand your pain. And unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, I hate to say it, they don't give a damn about you because they don't give a damn about themselves. And you may realize this too, because the fact that you were broken, they knew that you were broken, and they could relate to your brokenness. You may realize that possibly the agenda was to keep you there so that they didn't have to grow. God is praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. Come on now. Doesn't matter how deep your pockets is if you have no peace of mind. P.T. Barnum said it best, a fool and his money will soon part. And it's true, because we choose to want to have that fake, you know, that fake validation because you have the new and approved. Let me tell you something. A real person doesn't wear their wealth. They invest in it. So who's investing in you? Hopefully it's not the price tags of the garments that are found in your closet, because guess what? You may pay hundreds of dollars for something that only took $50 to make. So who's making money? It's not you. Invest in yourself, love yourself, place God first in everything you do, and watch He show you the direction to the place and the people that will love you, because where they are, happiness exists. Be blessed. Love to hear from you guys. Have a great week. Bye.